So again, welcome to Kings Island. Hope everybody enjoyed the Banshee tour. How'd everyone enjoy the Skyline Chili? The Skyline Chili, it kind of reminded me of the only time I ever got sick on a roller coaster. It was on the racer. Up here last, it was 1988. It was ride 7,771. But I was pretty skilled at riding it, so none of it got on me. We were going up the lift hill, and it actually happened, when you start to hit the lift, and it kind of does that little bump. So that's where I kind of, all the way up the lift hill was thrown up, not the rest of the ride. But got back in the station, got out of the train, no one on the crew ever knew it was me. So that was the only time I ever did on a roller coaster. One other time on a ride, I threw up, and it was a Small World at Disney World. It wasn't because the ride was intense, that song. But today looking at the video that Howard showed and everything, it kind of reminded me of the first time I was introduced to Ace, and it was back in 1981. Met somebody named Marlon Scott. Some of you may know Marlon. Met him in line at the racer, and saw his jacket that he was wearing, asked about the club, and about 10 days later, I was a member. So I go back 30 plus years now with the club, and it's interesting to see how it has evolved and what it's become. I remember Dave with the Coaster Hotline, and Dave actually worked with me briefly when I was at Forest Fair Mall, which was just down the road from here once, and I called it, and he said, Coaster Hotline. I'm like, no, I'm not calling my coasters. One if you can come in and work tonight. But good times with the ACE members and everything. There's a lot of clubs that are out there now, all trying to be what you were then and what you guys are now. So you've always been the leader at the forefront for all the enthusiast groups, and we've always enjoyed the relationship here that we've had with ACE here at Kings Island. And again, the volunteer efforts, without people like Dave, Howard, everyone else that, your regional reps, without all their help, you don't get to do these kind of events. You don't get to have all the ERT and everything else that's involved. Before we get to Kings Island, Kings Dominion, our sister park in Central Virginia, they're turning back the clock for the 40th anniversary celebration. They have a lot of different surprises and things. And one of the things that makes their 40th anniversary unique, it's going to actually be over a 2-year period, because 1974 they opened first with the Lion Country Safari, and then in 1975 the actual Hard Park opened. So right now we have a video that we'd like to show you from Kings Dominion.
ACE members, hope you're having fun today out at Kings Island. We're here at Kings Dominion. I'm Gene Petriello, the Public Relations Manager here at the park in Central Virginia, and we are gearing up for an exciting 40th celebration to start here in the spring of next year. Right behind me here is the space where the singing mushrooms, backed by popular demand for our 40th celebration. They're going to be placed right here behind me, across from the Dodgem, in the newly rethemed Candy Apple Grove. Now, the 4 singing mushrooms and the infamous frog will all be back for the spring of 2014, but right now they're being refabricated at Gardner Holt, which is in Southern California. We're showing you some behind-the-scenes photos of the refabrication right now, including that mold of the frog, which Kings Dominion blurred out for a few days to tease the big announcement in November when we told you that the singing mushrooms would be coming back. Also returning next year for our 40th celebration are the candy apples in the newly rethemed Candy Apple Grove section of the park. Currently, the candy apples are being made by Tivoli 2, which is located in Minnesota. This is a picture of an actual candy apple from the 1970s that once was at Kings Dominion that Tivoli 2 is now resculpting to use as a model for the 20 candy apples that will be located in the park next year. Now, one of the most exciting parts about this celebration is that each month, the first Thursday of each month, we're releasing a flashback video talking to a person who played an influential role to make Kings Dominion what it is today. Recently, we've talked to one of our former general managers, Dennis Spiegel. Take a listen to some of the things he remembers when he was in charge of this park from construction to the early 1980s.
It's like building a city, building a theme park. And when you're a general manager of a park, and this hasn't changed in 40 years, you're like the mayor of the city. And you have to be able to focus and work in all of these areas. So we were so self-sustaining and self-productive, we just made it happen. The monorail was a great experience. You know, it's amazing looking back on it today. You had all these animals outside 1/4 inch of plexiglass. And a lion can literally rip the door off of an automobile. It's that strong. And here were all these passengers in these monorails with this little plexiglass window, and they're looking out, the lions are looking at them, and we never had an incident, never had an issue in that regard. It was always, years later I thought back on that and thought, that's pretty amazing. We didn't, how do you know you don't have a crazy lion? He decides to run to the window and gets in the train. That never happened. We didn't have anything like that. So.
And remember, we promised you many surprises along the way. The first big surprise, of course, the singing mushrooms. But we still have a few more surprises up our sleeves coming in the days and weeks ahead, so make sure you stay tuned. And we invite you to celebrate with us here for our 40th celebration starting on Saturday, April 5th of next year. And of course, happy holidays from all of us here at Kings Dominion.